Well, how about it, y'all? This is Daniel Nicholson, Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. Just getting started with my afternoon chores, so I figured I'd bring you along with us, show you what we've got going on with the animals, kind of what we do in the afternoon, check up on all of them. Haven't seen them today, so we might find something interesting, might not, I don't know. But it's pretty wet around here. We got 1.5 inches over the weekend, and everything is soft. The pigs are back up here in these woods right here. They are tearing it up right there. We'll show you that, and I haven't laid eyes on the pigs up front since the rain stopped, so I imagine it's going to be a soupy mess up there, but we'll just have to wait and see. I know it's a soupy mess right around here anyways, but we'll get started. We'll start off with the rabbits, and then go to our butcher steer sirloin, and carry on checking on all the animals today. I always start with the rabbits every afternoon. There's 4 young females in this pen right here. Basically, they're ready to be bred. I just haven't built another rabbit hutch yet. So they're in here. I move them every day to grass. And with these girls, I feed them every other day. The ones in the rabbit hutch, I feed every day. But these girls have a little bit of grass to munch on, some stubble to munch on. So they get fed every day. Or every other day. Cuts down on feed a little bit. Saves a little bit of money. Growing rabbits on the ground like this is really easy as long as you keep them moving, so it doesn't get muddy. And we're spreading their manure pellets out around our pasture, kind of spreading some fertility around. Water looks good. We'll move on to the mature ones. So this is the group of our mature rabbits. We have 2 breeding does, and we have 2 bucks. Why I have 2 bucks, I really don't know. I need to get rid of one. But some of my young ones out there are actually related to this guy, or they are his daughters. So we're gonna be using that newer buck before too long. But with these guys, I just got a little coffee cup, disposable coffee cup. I give them one a day. They tend to clean it up pretty good. I don't want to get them too fat. I think I've been getting into a problem with breeding where my does are too fat and they're not breeding. But these girls should be bred. I think they're supposed to. I have to look at the calendar, but I think they're supposed to have babies next week. Their water's good. I have some rabbit boxes I'll throw in there a couple days before they're supposed to have babies. I don't want to put them in there too early. They'll just start pooping and peeing in them. But if you put them in there right before they're going to have babies, they'll start pulling fur. Fill up those boxes, give those babies a nice, dry, warm spot to be born in and hopefully thrive. We're getting pretty cool at nights around here. So whenever these girls do have babies, I am going to have to put a light on them. It's just something that we're going to have to do to keep them outside. I'm not going to bring the rabbits inside to have babies. Leave them alone, Rivers. But the rabbits are done. Let's grab Mr. Sirloin's feed. I know he's complaining, so we'll get him some feed, get him fed up, and we'll talk about him for a second. He's got some plans coming up. The Sirloin gets fed grain every day. It's a 16% beef conditioner pellet. It's got some pellets in it. It's got some ground corn, soybean meal, cracked corn, cottonseed meal. He'll come over in a minute to start eating, but he normally cleans up his feed. We're going to talk about him. Let me get the camera on him. We'll talk about him, how he's grown since he's been here, and a future date he has in store for him. So this is Mr. Sirloin. Sirloin is an Angus cross steer. We've had him probably about 6 or so months, and I made a video when we went and got him. Made a couple videos where he's in it, but really haven't talked about him too much. He really hasn't grown that much since we've had him. I don't know if you just saw him limp. I'll push him forward a little bit, but he did something to this front right foot, and I've tried to treat hoof rot. I've tried to do a couple different things with him, but nothing has worked. And the only thing that I can think of is that he got to chasing the goats one day, tweaked his shoulder or his knee or something, and just hasn't been right since. He just sits around. He's lazy. He'll come up and eat some grain. He'll eat hay, Hay's probably his favorite. I'm going to get him some here in just a little while. But he hasn't really grown out that well. And I mean, he hasn't put on any muscle because he doesn't get up and get moving around. All he does is come eat a little bit of grain, eat some hay, and lay back down. I hate it for him, but I can't justify calling a vet to check this guy out if his end purpose is going to be to go in our freezer. We're going to try to give him the best life, and we have tried to give him the best life possible here. And we will continue for the next month, because sirloin here has got a processing date of January the 6th. So we're about a little over a month away where he's going to be leaving the farm, where he's going to be returning as meat in our freezer to feed our family for the next year. Really wish he would have grown out a lot better. I don't even know where to guess him. I'm going to say he's probably about the 750, 800 pound range. He was probably 550 when he got here. Like I said, he hasn't grown that much, and hate it that he got injured. I don't know if that caused him to slow down growing or not, really. So like I said, he's going to be leaving in a month. We've already kind of started working on a deal with another fella about getting possibly 2 steers next time, and hopefully they're going to grow out a little bit better. What we really like to do is put 1.5 in our freezer, and potentially a family member get the other half. We'll just have to wait and see, make sure they grow out. Our first butcher calf, the first one that we've ever sent off to get processed since I was a little kid, was Brisket, our former steer, and he grew exceptionally well. So we might be going back to the guy I bought him from, and hopefully he grows out a little better. But I really think what slowed down sirloin here is his injury to his shoulder or his knee or whatever it is. But that's it for the cow and the rabbits. Let's go look at the pigs. I'll show you what they've been up to, trying to plant grass for us. And then we're going to run up and water the big pigs. We're going to check out our doelings and our buck and our steer goats. We're not going to run up the road today to check on the other goats, but I'll show you how these Spanish does have adjusted into the herd. So here we are at our group of feeder pigs. They have actually made their first rotation. I moved 3, maybe 4 days ago now. But since we got that inch of rain, 1.5 inches, they have gotten it torn up through here. So they're almost done with their feeder full of food. So whenever that's complete, we're going to be moving them on to their next spot, getting them pipes out the way, not let them touch them hay bales. But get them in that next spot and let them tear this up. Put fescue seed on this spot. They came out of here a couple days ago. Day before we moved them, we threw some fescue seed in here. Kind of let them mix it into the ground. But as you can see, they didn't tear this up near as much as they've torn this up. They were in this longer, but the rain is what's caused all this, being able to tear up more. But that's just fine. That's what pigs do. We knew they were going to do that when we put them in here. We just got to keep them from really, really tearing it up. But there is some bare ground that they exposed that hopefully that fescue seed's going to take off. They showed me a mess that was covered up by leaves that I need to clean up. Some T-posts and some posts. But pigs are doing their job. Happy with it. They don't stink too bad with moving them this quick. And it hasn't become a sloppy mess like I'm afraid we're going to find with the big pigs. So in here with our doelings and our buck Thunder and our steer goats now, you can see our 2 Spanish does that we picked up last week in our last video. They've adjusted well, been hanging out with the herd, it's been no problem. I'm really happy I put them in here first instead of putting them in with the mature does. They haven't got bullied at all. Everybody's kind of got along, kind of bonded pretty nicely. Thunder has definitely been trying to do his job at least. I saw him breeding a couple does over the weekend. So hopefully they took, and we're gonna have some babies out of Thunder. They're doing well. All the goats are doing pretty well. You can see, I don't know if you can see this light strip right here. This is where we've been rolling out hay. They still got some to clean up. So we're not gonna put out any hay today. Probably have to do that tomorrow. But the goats are doing well. The goats up at the lease for Clyde and his group are mature does. There's been a lot of action going on up there. Every time I go up there, there's some ladies all over Mr. Clyde, so I'm hoping he's getting his job done. I'm hoping they're all bred. Today makes 3 weeks since we put our bucks in, so hopefully everybody's covered. If anybody's not covered now, they're going to be kind of off on our schedule. So like I said, hopefully everybody's covered. We're going to leave Mr. Clyde in with the does for another week, and then the mature does are coming home, and they're going to combine the herds, and we're just going to leave Thunder in for about 2 weeks to cover anything that might not get hit. That'll give us 2 heat cycles that we could catch, and hopefully everything got bred, and we're going to have some babies mid-April. So that's it for everything down here at my parents' house. It's taken care of except for the big hogs up at the top of the pasture. So let me hop in my old truck with the water. I know they need some water, so we're going to go up there, water them, and see how bad of a muddy mess is up there. I'm kind of scared to look at it, to be honest. I knew they had water and feed yesterday, so I just kind of glanced to make sure everybody's there. I didn't want to look and see the damage, so let's get up there, check it out. So I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be soupy, muddy mess. It is in some areas. They've got a couple pretty deep holes dug in some places, but they're not happy with me. I meant to make them run out of water today, so I can move their barrel from over there to right here without having to dump more water onto the ground. So we're going to set the barrel up right there, get it filling up, get them fed, and get them happy. They're probably going to be pretty loud here in just a second when I get that water going. So the water's going now. They're gonna be fighting over that nipple for a couple minutes, but then they'll calm down. I don't know if I've ever really talked about my water setup, or at least I haven't in a while. All I have is a IBC tote. It's a 250-gallon tote that sits in the back of my truck. I used to have this thing mounted on a trailer where I could just hook up the tractor to it or a truck to it and move it around as needed. I used to actually have it hooked up to some water nipples with a pipe straight off of it, but during the winter I'd always have problems with it freezing. And then just moving this thing, make sure the tractor's not hooked up to anything else, or make sure my truck's not hooked up to anything else, or I could get to the trailer. It was just a nightmare. I bought a new truck about 2 years ago. This old F-150 was my first vehicle. I'll never get rid of it. Don't really drive it that much. It needs a little bit of work. So I just leave the IBC tote in the back of it. I can move it around as needed. It's easy to get back down to the house, get it filled up, bring it up here and fill up some water pretty quickly. We're hoping to get our water lines in soon, so we don't have to do this. This just adds compaction to our ground, adds just another thing I've got to do in the afternoons. You can see where I have to drive to come up here all the time. Just add something else we have to do. It'd be nice to have our water lines in the ground already. That way we don't have to even worry about it. But that project will be coming up hopefully soon. We're gonna be running water lines all the way from down there where my parents' house is, pretty much all the way down this fence, up to this barn, several spigots on the way, and over here in our pig pens, we're gonna have one hookup where we can get to it pretty quickly. This guy's trying to eat my shoe. But it's another day, another project. We're not gonna get to it today, that's for sure. So we'll check on their feed real quick. I'm sure they need some. Let me top it off a little bit, it's not too bad. But I have this self feeder. Let me get to the other side where you can see it a little better. I have this self feeder that actually came out of an old hog parlor. This is the bottom of it. It used to only hold about a bucket and a half, 2 buckets, 5-gallon buckets. Had some old stainless steel sitting around work. Kind of added some more capacity to it. Now it'll hold about 5-gallon buckets. These 3 pigs, They're going through about 3 buckets a day, so about a bucket apiece for them right now. So we'll go ahead and top that off for them while the water's filling up. Then we'll have some happy campers. I'm gonna go ahead and leave these pigs out here for another 2 days. We're supposed to get a good bit, more rain in about 3 days from now. So I'm gonna be locking them back up. I might just go ahead and put them in this middle bay where I can just shut this gate pretty easily. This gate over that goes across the front. Shut it pretty easily, get them in here, just let them use this area instead of having to worry about that hog panel over there. It'd be a little bit easier to do it right here. But yeah, let's fill these feeders up. I was gonna set my camera up while I fed the pigs, but these two right here are not gonna leave this camera stand alone. I'm willing to bet you they knock it over while I'm filling this up. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up while this water continues to fill up before they get to fighting over that nipple. It's coming level to it now. They get to fighting over that, we're not gonna be able to talk. They get loud squealing. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed this afternoon doing the chores. Didn't really have a lot going on this afternoon. Haven't had time to really do a whole lot lately. We just had a lot of stuff going on the weekends. We've got another big surprise coming for you that's been taking up a lot of our time. And so in the afternoons, I like to just get out, take care of the animals, take my time doing it. Sometimes bring y'all along with us when we do it. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and we'll see y'all in the next one.